I've made it no secret that I like to work on my electronics. I don't have any new computers. I have an old Dell Optiplex that I've fixed up. I have old ThinkCenters from schools that I work on. My Macs, the newest one is from 2015, 8 years ago. Everything works because I put in the work to make sure it works. I also do this with my consoles. I bought a Super Nintendo from a thrift store. When I turned it on, it didn't work right away. I had to clean it out. I had to work the pins. Boom, it works. $11, a few hours of my work figuring everything out. Cool, that's a great deal. Now, I will give you an example of something I have been working on for a while, my Nintendo DSi. Major flaw of it, the card reader doesn't hold the games in. As you can see from the glare from the light, hopefully that there's some tape right here that holds it in. Everything else works perfectly. I open it up. Behind the battery, there's a few small screws. Someone tried to open it before, probably with the wrong screwdriver, and stripped it. Probably homebrew it, but I could, pop off this if I was forceful, and I'm a big guy. I can probably do that, but I have the right to. I own this. It is my property to work on. More and more companies are trying to say that you can't do that, and there is a fight back, the right to repair. And we have made some headway, but the gaming community should get behind it, and here's why. More and more devices are failing, especially older devices. We're seeing laptop screens losing the laminate, processors dying. It's getting tougher. We had a scandal with the Wii U when the NAND flash memory went kaput. It just wouldn't work. There's no real fix for it yet. And that's kind of where we're heading. Right here, I have a great example. I showed you my DSi, but the original Game Boy right here. Now this one I bought because I wanted to mod it. I turned it on and bad screen, which is okay. Eventually I am going to mod it and change it up. You can do a lot of repairs on this. This was built to be repaired. It was actually built to apparently withstand war. There are the videos on the internet of old Game Boys, melted all through but still play games. But it was meant to be worked on. Here's the original one. It even has the service number still on it. So that's kind of how it was back in the day. You were able to work on whatever electronics you want. They showed you the schematics, but companies are making it harder and harder to do this. Let's get into it. Do you remember as a kid hearing reduce, reuse, recycle? Well, that's kind of an important phrase. Electronics are very bad for the environment. They use precious rare metals that have to be mined. And mining does a lot of damage to just the environment around. It uses a lot of resources depending on the energy. The energy use is a lot. It's a lot of fossil fuels into the air, a lot more pollution. I grew up on Captain Planet. I'm a Planeteer. You can be one too. But this idea that we're trying to repair our environment, it's getting tougher and tougher now that we have more electronics in our life. So it's more important that we start following reduce, reuse, recycle. So what does that exactly mean? Let's look at reduce. It's the most important one. It's the most effective one in, protecting our environment. Reducing the amount of electronics that we buy consistently helps the environment. We do not have the environmental costs that come with, mining the raw materials, putting it all together, the human cost of the factories, people getting below living wages, the dangers of the factory work. Reducing is the most important because it is the most effective, but it's also the toughest. A lot of us don't want to give up the luxuries that we have. And you're probably saying to me, well, it's already made. What else are we going to do? Well, that's where reuse comes in. Reusing things when we do not need to upgrade really helps. It's the second highest level. So I have this Game Boy right here. A little bit of work, putting in new materials, or just if this good one ever breaks, taking materials from the old one. That's a reuse. That helps protect the environment. It reduces the need to buy, say, another console. You guys probably do something very simple. Batteries. Rechargeable batteries are so much better than the old school batteries that you basically threw out. I know I have thrown out many batteries, which is horrible. The chemicals still leak into the soil. It's still super bad. So looking at reuse anything, everything. Become a crafter. Take little parts from different PCs. It really helps the environment. But you're probably like, hey, I don't throw away my stuff. I recycle it. Well, that's great. Anything's great. But it is not the best. There's a reason why it's the last level. And that's because a lot of things don't get recycled. Think about your recycling bin. Can you put any plastic in it? No. There are a bunch of plastics you can't put in it. You can't put thin plastics. Check out how it works of a recycling plant. Those thin plastics, you put them in there, they kind of break the machine and they don't get recycled. So recycling doesn't do a lot, and it takes a lot of resources to extract the materials that are valuable. Getting the metals out of a hard drive, that's a lot of work. And that work costs a lot of money. It's sometimes dangerous. That's why it's not the best. So what does this have to do with gaming? Why do I want gamers on board with this? I know if you're a tech person, you're most likely like, hey, I'm already with you, right to repair. What does right to repair have to do with reuse, reduce, reuse, recycle? I tongue-tied right there. Well, it has everything to do with it. Gaming is a major industry now, and it requires electronics. The Xbox, the PlayStation, the Switch, they're all computers kind of made in the same way, use variations of the same chips that are used in computers, and they're coming into the phones and TVs. And gaming is huge. The casual consumer needs to get behind this. It's very important. I'm going to give you an example. Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo are all part of the lobbying group against right to repair. And the most basic thing that breaks all the time, the Joy-Con. This little joystick, you've experienced it, Joy-Con drift, joystick drift. Let's face it, these are pretty flimsy on any controller. But for some reason, this one. And new Joy-Cons cost $79.99. Well, this is actually an easy fix. It's just a few screws pop off, put a new one in, boom, you're done. It's easy to fix, it's cheap to fix, but Nintendo does not want you to fix your Joy-Con. Xbox does not want you to fix the joysticks on their controllers. PlayStation doesn't want you to fix the joysticks on their controllers. They want you to buy new. When Dbrand made new side panels for the PlayStation 5, they got a cease and desist from PlayStation because they didn't want anyone else to be able to modify or mod their system. Well, you should be able to. It creates competition. Competition reduces prices. It becomes more efficient. This is very good for consumers. If you're someone who buys stuff, you want right to repair. Now, no one's saying that you specifically have to repair your device. It's about choice. It is the right to have a choice. It is the right to own your stuff. I don't really like right to repair. It's right to ownership. Because as of right now, there are no laws in place to protect the consumer on how to use the stuff they want to use. Like if I want to buy a Dbrand skin for this Joy-Con, I should be able to. If I want to put homebrew on this, which I'll probably do because I can't really open it up and that's easier, I should be able to. If I want to fix the battery in my phone, I should be able to. It's about consumer choice. And as I said before, if you have more choices, if you have more competition, it lowers the price, which is great. It's great for small businesses because small businesses can come about. I used to have a lot of repair shops for TVs back in the day in my town because TVs were so expensive, they were so large and so easy to break inside that it was an investment. All the appliances were an investment. I'm sure a lot of you have some older relative that has an appliance, be it dishwasher, a washing machine, TV from 20, 30 years ago that works amazing, that's still going. And you buy something new, it lasts 2 to 3 years. We had it right before, and we have to go back to that. So you should be able to get your device repaired or repair it yourself, just like you do with a car. It's as simple as that. So I hope you found this informative. I hope that you join me on this idea that right to repair is happening. There's now federal legislation being introduced by a congresswoman who owns an auto repair shop. Check out Louis Rossman's newest video. So tell me what you think in the comments. Liked if you liked, dislike if you disliked. Hit that notification. Please subscribe. Check out one of my other videos. My net neutrality one's pretty good, and I'm pretty happy with it. Someone at least got fined. Other than that, you made it to the end. You're amazing. We love you here. Bye.